Are you feeling frustrated, maybe even a little bit angry with HMRC? Well, you are definitely not alone. In this guide, which we put together with the brilliant experts at My Tax Accountant, we're going to give you a clear, step-by-step plan to make your voice heard and, more importantly, get things sorted. Let's get right into it.
Yeah, does this feel familiar? You're trying to sort out a tax issue. Maybe you're a freelancer waiting on a refund that's taking forever, or you're a small business owner who spotted an error on your tax bill, and you just keep hitting a dead end. It is one of the most frustrating feelings in the world, and honestly, it's incredibly common. And when I say common, wow, just look at that number. Over 700,000 formal complaints were filed against HMRC just last year. That is a staggering figure, and it proves you're not imagining things, and you're not on your own. But here's the thing, it's not just about complaining, it's about knowing how to complain so you actually get results.
So, here's our roadmap. We'll look at what actually counts as a valid complaint, and then the crucial difference between a complaint and an appeal. We'll walk through HMRC's own process, show you how to escalate your case, give you some real pro tips, and finally, help you figure out when it's time to call for backup.
Okay, first up, let's talk about why you might be feeling ignored. It's so important to know that your frustration isn't just, well, frustration. It's likely based on a real service failure. So what actually gives you solid grounds to make a formal complaint?
These are the big ones. Unreasonable delays are a huge issue. Think of someone like Alice, a freelance designer in London who's been waiting for months on a tax refund she's counting on for her cash flow. Or maybe they've made a straight-up error in their calculations. Poor customer service, getting bad advice that costs you money. And of course, the classics. They've lost your documents, or their website just isn't working. If any of this sounds familiar, you've got a very strong case.
Right, before you do anything else, this is absolutely crucial. You have to know the difference between a complaint and an appeal. It sounds technical, but getting this wrong can send you down a completely pointless path and waste months of your time. So let's make sure you're using the right tool for the job.
Okay, think of it like this. A complaint, which is what we're talking about today, is all about the service you received. It's about how your case was handled or, mishandled. An appeal is totally different. That's a formal legal challenge against a tax decision, like if you've been hit with a 100-pound penalty you think is unfair. They are two separate roads, and picking the right one from the start is half the battle.
So what really gives your complaint some teeth? It's this, the HMRC Charter. Now, this isn't just some fluffy mission statement. It's their published set of promises to you, the taxpayer. And when they fail to live up to it, when they don't show you respect, or they don't help, or they make mistakes, they've broken their own rules. And that is the official foundation for your complaint.
Right, so you've got solid grounds for a complaint. You're ready to go. You need to know that HMRC has a very specific, formal process you have to follow. You can't just skip to the end. Now let's look at the next step.
It's a two-tiered system. First, there's the Tier 1 review. You send in your complaint, and they have a look. They aim to get back to you within about 6 weeks. If you're not happy with that outcome, you can ask for a Tier 2 review. And this is key, a totally different person, usually a more senior handler, takes a fresh look at everything. This is what HMRC considers their final decision, and you have to go through both these steps before you can take it any further.
So, how do you actually kick things off? Well, you've got three main ways. You can do it online through your government gateway account, which is probably the easiest. You can also phone them on their dedicated complaints lines, or you can go old school and send a letter. And a quick pro tip, if you send a letter, always use recorded delivery. The address you'll need is HMRC Complaints, BX9 1AB in the United Kingdom.
Okay, listen up, because this is a really important pro tip. Even when you have a complaint in the system, you must keep paying any tax that HMRC says you owe. If you just stop, their system will automatically start adding penalties and interest for late payment, and that just makes a bad situation a whole lot worse. You can ask them to postpone the payment, but whatever you do, don't just stop paying it. That's not all. Here's where most people go wrong. So many people get that Tier 2 decision letter and think, well, that's it, game over. But it's not even close. If you're still not satisfied, you have some seriously powerful options for an independent review. It's so important to know that HMRC's final decision often isn't final at all.
This timeline shows you the whole path. So after you've been through HMRC's two tiers, your next stop is the adjudicator's office. Think of them as a free, impartial referee who will look at your case from the outside. If you're still not happy after that, you can ask your local MP to take your case to the Parliamentary and Health Service Ombudsman. That's basically the highest authority. And for very rare cases, there's something called a judicial review, but that's a proper legal challenge in court.
All right,
This is the part that can give you a real advantage. We've pulled together a few secret weapons, insider tips that can make your complaint so much stronger. Stay with me. The next point might surprise you.
First things first. I know it's hard, but you have to try and take the emotion out of it. It's completely normal to be angry, but a calm, professional, and factual complaint is 10 times more powerful. Stick to the timeline, clearly explain what went wrong, and state exactly what you want them to do to fix it. A furious rant is easy for them to ignore. A well-argued case is not.
Now, here is a word you need to file away: maladministration. It sounds like boring jargon, but trust me, it's not. Using this specific word in your complaint is like a secret code. It tells them you believe they have seriously failed to follow their own rules. It shows you've done your homework, and it can often trigger a much more serious investigation.
And here's another tool that can be a total game changer. It's called a subject access request, or an SAR. It's your legal right to ask for all the data HMRC holds on you. We're talking their internal notes, recordings of your phone calls, everything. It's an incredible way to find hard evidence, especially if you're arguing about what was said in a call they claim has no record.
And here's something most people have no idea about. If HMRC's mistakes have actually cost you money, say for postage or even for an accountant's fees to fix their mess, you can claim those costs back. On top of that, you can also claim compensation for the worry and distress they've caused you. So remember, don't just ask them to fix the mistake, ask to be compensated for the hassle.
Now, while you can absolutely do all of this yourself, let's be realistic. This stuff can get complicated, and honestly, it can be draining. Sometimes, the smartest move is to get an expert in your corner. So let's look at the signs that it might be time to call for help. Just ask yourself these questions. Is the amount of money at stake significant? Is the tax issue itself legally complex? Is the whole thing causing you a huge amount of stress? Or is your time simply better spent running your business? If the answer is yes to any of those, bringing in a professional can be a massive weight off your shoulders. They know the system inside and out and can build a much stronger case. Okay, before we wrap up, here's the official bit. Please remember that the information we've shared here is for general guidance. It shouldn't be relied on to make financial decisions. Before you take any action, you must consult with a qualified professional, like the team at My Tax Accountant.
Look, even with this guide, we know it can feel like a daunting maze. But the most important thing to take away is that you don't have to go through it alone. The team at My Tax Accountant can handle the entire process for you, taking all that stress off your plate. If you need that expert help, you can call them directly on +02 08 570 8531, or you can send an email to info@mytaxaccountant.co.uk.
And if you want to dive even deeper, I really recommend you check out the full, detailed guide on the My Tax Accountant blog. The address is mytaxaccountant.co.uk/post/how-do-you-complain-to-HMRC. And for more incredibly helpful guides like this one, make sure you hit subscribe on their YouTube channel. Thanks so much for joining us.